Have you ever thought about how rare it is for something to become a fossil? It's so unique that we can only wish for it to happen to us someday. Fossils aren't found everywhere, but Earth has seen an incredible amount of life come and go. Right now, there are quintillions of animals living alongside us. So it's easy to understand why fossils remain important in science. Although fossils are uncommon, researchers still manage to find new ones frequently. However, it's usually not surprising to find fossils of animals we've seen before. It's a special discovery when we find something completely new and puzzling. And let me tell you, there are a few creatures that have made scientists scratch their heads in confusion. One of the most famous of these strange creatures is the Tully monster. The story of the Tully monster began in 1966 when an amateur fossil collector was exploring the Mason Creek Formation in Illinois. While searching, he stumbled upon several unusual fossils that looked like they were once living beings. However, he had no idea what type of creature they were. After studying them closely, he decided to take them to the Field Museum of Natural History for expert advice. Surprisingly, the experts at the museum were just as baffled as he was. The Tully monster had a strange appearance, with a long body that looked like a cigar, triangle-shaped fins, long-stalked eyes, and a mouth that resembled a proboscis. It seemed like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Thankfully, these critters were small, with most fossils being less than 35 centimeters, 14 inches long. Its oddity drew a lot of attention from scientists around the world. Nevertheless, even with many experts examining it, no one could reach a clear answer. Some guessed it might be a mollusk, an arthropod, a worm, a vertebrate, or something completely different. The only thing everyone agreed on was that it lived in water. Back in the day, Illinois was actually a tropical sea. After nearly 90 years of research, scientists still don't fully understand this creature. They could only classify it as a bilaterian, which includes many living animals today. This classification is broad, covering about 98% of all animals. Over the years, researchers have tried to discover more about the Tully monster, but many ideas have come and gone. While we are trying to understand the Tully monster, we made another strange discovery in Montana. In the 1970s, researchers found something so unusual they nicknamed it the alien goldfish. This bizarre creature came from the Bear Gulch Limestone Formation and dates back to around 330 million years ago. Unfortunately, this fossil stayed under the radar for a long time because it confused scientists so much. The Typhlosis, as it was later named, is also a mystery. It has a slender, worm-like body and one tail, but it lacks any limbs, a midsection, or an anus. Even stranger, it has an unknown. What does this organ do? We still don't know. To tackle the confusion, scientists initially put the Typhlosis in the Conodont family, which consists of jawless vertebrates. This hope was short-lived, as a researcher discovered that the teeth were remnants of its last meal, meaning they didn't belong to the creature itself. This led us back to square one. In 2022, some researchers proposed that Typhlosis might actually be a mollusk. Why? Because it had a tongue-like structure very similar to the radula found in modern mollusks. But of course, there's a catch. Non-mollusks have also independently developed similar structures. So we're still uncertain about what this odd creature truly was. Continuing through the strange world of fossil discoveries, we find more oddities from the same location as the Tully monster, the Mason Creek Formation. Here, two other mysterious fossils were found and dubbed Atachistus and Isomacea, known as the H and Y animals. Atachistus, the H-shaped one, has a weird growth in the middle. Scientists think it might have fed on floating particles and could have lived as a colonial animal, growing throughout its life. Interestingly, these creatures appear in various shapes, including circles and hearts, depending on the individual. While researchers think Atachistus might belong to the group called Hemichordata, we still don't completely understand its purpose. Now let's talk about Isomacea, the Y-shaped creature. While its shape is less wild than that of Atachistus, it has caused more confusion for scientists. It looks a bit like a sea anemone, but it also shows features that don't match what we know about that group. For example, Isomacea has bilateral symmetry, a complete gut, and even a mouth in the form of a large slit between its arms. What do those arms do? Nobody knows. It's frustrating that less than 20% of you watching are subscribed. If you've made it this far, why not click that subscribe button and show some love? But back to our strange creatures. The Ediacaran period between 635 and 538 million years ago was filled with odd forms of life. One of the strangest organisms from this time is Nemalthus. At first glance, it looks like something from a sci-fi movie. Its fossils show a massive structure with multiple openings at the top, which made scientists think it might be something otherworldly. After further investigation, they realized it wasn't a plant, but rather an animal. This creature had an unusual body that would have been calcified and not plant-like at all. When other fossils showed what covered its outside, it started to look even crazier. Nemalthus had countless grasping tentacles and rows of spines capable of shredding anything it encountered. Those openings? They were covered with strange biological windows that varied in size and shape. Some looked like hearts, moons, and even hexagons. Scientists believe it preferred living in the depths of the ocean, possibly in the abyss. However, just like the Tully monster and Typhlosis, what exactly Nemalthus was remains a profound mystery. Continuing this trend of confusion, we can't ignore Dickinsonia, another enigmatic creature from the Ediacaran period. This organism looked like a fluffy rug, but was alive and moved around. Many others from this time, like Vendia and Spenia, remain puzzling. There were so many strange creatures from this period that researchers have grouped many of them into one proposed group called the Proarticulata. Even with their abundance, it's mind-boggling that these creatures still don't fit into known categories of animals today. The way they lived and their connections to modern species are still up for debate. Some of these creatures are astonishingly symmetrical, yet strangely many are slightly asymmetrical, which adds another layer of frustration for scientists. Let's not forget to touch on the mysterious organisms from an earlier time, the Rain period. To get there, we need to travel far back, around 2.1 billion years ago. During this time, Earth was a very unusual place, and there's a group called the Francevillian biota, discovered in Gabon, Africa. Here, scientists found strange black shell deposits from that time. These fossils are so baffling that no one knows for sure if they are even fossils. Some researchers initially suggested that these were colonial organisms made up of many cells, likely eukaryotes. But this claim is shocking. It contradicts the previous knowledge because these fossils date back more than 400 million years earlier than the oldest known multicellular life forms. Studying fossils that are billions of years old is incredibly challenging, especially when trying to figure out what they were. The debate over their classification has raged on, but recently most analyses have suggested that these structures indeed represent fossils after all. An isotopic analysis found they contain high levels of zinc, a sign of possible eukaryotic metabolism. If it turns out that the Francevillian biota were actual living organisms, we have some ideas about how they might have lived. Given their shape and lack of mobility, they likely depended on the nutrient-rich water in shallow hot deltas. In a surprising twist, not all puzzling fossils come from ancient times. Let's discuss a more familiar one, Nectoaris. Discovered in 1910, this fossil was unearthed from the Burgess Shale, a well-known fossil bed. At first, researchers were puzzled by its shrimp-like appearance, which earned it the name Nectoris, meaning swimming shrimp. However, it possessed features that didn't quite add up. An Italian paleontologist later speculated that it might actually be more closely related to chordates, focusing on its tail and a feature known as a notochord. This theory gained traction and held for about 20 years. But that changed when 91 new and better preserved specimens were found in 2010, revealing that Nectoris didn't resemble a shrimp at all. Instead, it looked more like a squid. It had 2 tentacles, a flattened body, 2 stalked eyes, and an odd funnel that might have been a proboscis, suggesting it could possibly turn inside out. As it now seemed like this ancient creature could be a cephalopod, many believed the mystery was finally solved. But hold on, its appearance caused a major problem, throwing the previous theories into disarray. This bizarre creature didn't align with what scientists understood about cephalopod evolution. Imagine if a paleontologist found a creature similar to modern humans before the first primitive primates had even appeared. This contradiction led researchers to throw out the cephalopod hypothesis and leave us back at square one regarding Nectoris. However, in 2019, another fossil remarkably similar to Nectoris surfaced, which was classified as a closely related relative and named Nectoides. So together, these two fossils create a somewhat controversial family called the Nectoids. Now, as we wrap up our exploration of these puzzling creatures, it's clear that the world of fossils can be incredibly confusing and mysterious. From the Tully monster, to the alien goldfish, to the bizarre Nemalthus and enigmatic Dickinsonia, researchers continue to encounter life's oddities frozen in time. Every discovery brings us closer to understanding how diverse and strange life has been on Earth. These ancient beings offer a glimpse into a prehistoric world where life was not just simpler or more primitive, but also baffling and complex in ways we are still deciphering today. And let's not forget that many fossils represent evolutionary dead ends. This means many might have lived and thrived for a time before fading away, leaving only their strange relics behind for us to ponder. The more we dig into our planet's past, the more we learn that life has always found unique ways to survive, even if those ways were sometimes downright bizarre. As researchers continue their work, who knows what other strange and intriguing fossils await discovery? Each find challenges our preconceptions and inspires new questions about our planet's history.